Hello, good afternoon and welcome along to this match here between Brighton and Burnley from the Amex Stadium, and what a game this really promises to be between two very good sides. Burnley of course have done remarkably well to get into 6th place with some fantastic victories along the way. 2 wins in their last 2 games have really propelled them up the Premier League table. But Brighton, who had a good run towards the early stage of the season, they've sort of backed off, but they've got a very decent side, Brighton, and they cannot be taken too lightly. And we'll give you the 2 lineups in just a second, of course. What I can tell you is that it's Ryan in goal for Brighton, then it's a back 4 of Bruno, Dunk, Bong, and I'll get the other player in a minute. Knockout proper, Stevens and March at the back 4. Duffy is also the other centre back. Gross and Glenn Murray. In fact, they're going to play 4-4-2, Chrissy Hughton's side. And, well, in fact, Gross will play in the number 10 role. And the bench, it's Kroll, Kyle, Ahmed, Golson, Esquardo, Scalotto, and we'll give you the other substitutes later. But Burnley, of course, I can bring you the team news for them. Nick Pope, of course, in goal. They're changing the back 4. Ben Mee returns after 2 games out with an injury. James Tarkowski, partners, and Charlie Taylor are in there also. And then you've got Johanberg, Gudmundsson, Stephen Defoe, Jack Cork, and Scott Arfield, who scored against Crystal Palace last week. And then Jeff Ent will play in the attacking midfielder role behind striker Chris Wood. On the bench amongst others, back comes Matt Lawton. He's amongst the 16 after being out with an injury, and what a fillip for them to have Ben Mee back in the side. Stan Volks and Ashley Barnes, who got the winning goal on Tuesday night in the win over Stoke, they're amongst the substitutes as well. So, and Kevin Long in fact drops to the bench for this game too. So plenty to look forward to here at the Amex this afternoon. It's bitterly cold. Chris Hughton looking on very nonchalant there. There's been a feel-good factor around Turf Moor this recently. Ben Mee comes back into the side after Jack Cork kept in the side for the last 2 games. Sean Dyche, this is the actual game. The last time these 2 teams met, incidentally, it was a very controversial day because it finished 2-2, but Burnley had a goal that clearly crossed the line, wrongfully disallowed or not given by the referee. That's Chris Canavan, the referee, and I hope he has a really good game today. The last 2 Clarets match live commentaries, we've featured a couple of prime examples of awful refereeing. But I have to say, it's a great thing. We're calling it the Justice Derby because after the if anyone's familiar with Clarets player who's listening to us this afternoon, Phil Bird, the commentator, said it was justice when Michael Keane, then with Burnley, headed in the equaliser to make it 2-2. It's a very cold day down on the south coast, as you would expect for this Justice Derby. Brighton in the blue and white stripes to get us underway. Burnley in their famous claret and blue. Bit of a blustery wind in the air. And off we go. Brighton going from left to right in this first half. Burnley attacking the goal to our right where their supporters are, as I say, in those famous claret and blue. And we're now live and rocking here at the Amex. And of course we'll have comms cam as well, so anybody who's got access to my Facebook can, if there's any goals or any major incidents, I will be putting them on for people to see, because that's the sort of guy I'm passionate about. And hopefully we'll have a really good game in the making. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've got to be honest. It's going to be a magnificent occasion down here on the south coast today. Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League or the top flight of English football for the first time since 1983, so they've had to wait something like 34 years to get back to the pinnacle of English football. And already Brighton have got themselves a throw in. Nothing much to report in the early couple of minutes at this moment in time, but what I can tell you is that we are live and we are going, and so up and go, and the comms cam is now running at full tilt as well, so we're going to be live with the action now. Of course, earlier today Crystal Palace won 3-0. That was a big result down at the bottom, so Brighton will be wary that Palace are now going right over their shoulders at the moment. A win for Palace, in fact, that takes them up to 14th, and they won very easily, although indeed he got sent off for Leicester halfway through the match, so which didn't help cause at all. So they've had a bit of a downturn as Nick Pope prepares to take a free kick. Glenn Murray's obviously upset about something or other. I think it's about time Glenn Murray just stopped arguing with the officials and just got on with the game. He needs to get the full 10 yards back, I suspect. Here's Nick Pope with the free kick. Hits it very high towards the Brighton penalty area. Wood jump in. Chance here inside the penalty area for Henrik to hook it back in there. Wood again was lurking, and in the end it was headed away for a corner when Chris Wood really was lurking inside that 6-yard area. And I have to say, well, I think Glenn Murray, was complaining about something in another. We didn't see the actual chance, replay the chance, but well, wouldn't it be a turn up here in the opening 3 minutes if Burnley were to score from a corner from exactly the same end Michael Keane equalised from? They've got Johan Goodmanson taking it this time. Last time it was Matty Taylor. Corner from the far side. Deeper one this time. Ben Mee with a header. He went down, but it wasn't going to be a penalty. Headed back by Defoe. Burnley with a much stronger team these days than they were a couple of years ago when they won the championship title. And performing amongst all equals. A win now would take them to 34 points and would take them potentially 2 wins away from staying in the Premier League for a third successive season, and it would really read them to take it very easy in the second half of the season. Though Sean Dyche will not be the sort of manager that will take things easy, but he may well have an easier ride as regards the transfer window, trying to get better quality of players in. And if that is the case, well, why not have a go at spending about 20-30 million in getting 2 or 3 more bods in. Of course, they'll miss the guile of Robbie Brady, but Scott Arfield's, I think, is a very good short-term player. Replacement, whether he's full-time, whether he's a long-term replacement, remains to be seen. There's a lot of supporters obviously divided by Scott Arfield, and I've had my piece about him in the past. Ball back on the edge of the area with Ryan. That's a dangerous thing to do because Burnley are a team that like to defend from the front. Ben Mee chests the clearance down, and now Defoe deep inside his own half. Glenn Murray was tracking to him almost like glue. Now Phil Barsley's had a couple of good games since replacing Matt Lawton at right back, and has done really well and keeps his place despite Lawton back in the matchday squad. Header back from me and Tarkowski, who's had a marvellous season so far, and so too to another man who's kicked long 3/4 of the way up the field, headed away by Duffy, and that was Nick Pope, who was since coming in for Tom Eaton against Crystal Palace earlier on in the season, has had a marvellous season. Bong touching it back to Lewis Dunk. Now Dunk finds Duffy. Bruno's the right back, incidentally, and Bong is the left back. Ball again back to Nick Pope. Burnley, of course, have got good form on the south coast, having won at earlier on at Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago, and then at Southampton 4 or 5 weeks back. So they've got good form down on the south coast, and they're looking to complete a south coast hat-trick of wins here at Brighton today. Brighton starting today 3 points above the relegation zone, and the pressure's on them more than Burnley, because with Palace winning at a surprise Palace winning at Leicester, and that was a real coupon buster. It really puts Brighton's back up against the wall as Bong takes the throw for Brighton. They've got a decent lineup here. Dale Stevens, who was widely tipped to be a Burnley player about a year or two back, over a year back, and Cork in there to win the interception against Bruno, but Bruno coming off better in that one. Here come Brighton now midway side to Burnley half. They just keep possession. Dale Stephens towards Bruno on the far side. Brighton, as I say, not had a particularly good run, but they've got a very good, resolute manager in Chrissy Houghton who will get the job done. He's another one that's done really well. And as I said in my preview yesterday, in my short preview yesterday, I think Brighton are a very good, well-run club who are naturally, of course, like Burnley, punching above their weight and doing tremendously well as Nick Pope kicks clear for the Clarets. 0-0 then at the Amex Stadium. But I think this is going to be a real game of nutrition as Bruno comes forward now, gets it forward for Brighton. Still 0-0 here. Bruno again, but touching it back to to Duffy, who finds Lewis Dunk, and then Dunk gets it back to the Australian international goalkeeper Matt Ryan, and Ryan kicks away right-footed over the halfway line. It goes up towards Glenn Murray, but header won by James Tarkowski. Now a chance for Goodmanson, who's showing his good form. He showed a great turn of pace in the other day, and Cork has stayed on side on the right-hand side. Cork gets a very good cross in, but away by Bruno, but not far enough. Arfield trying to hook it back in, headed only half away. Defoe has it, finds Cork. Cork has got Goodmanson on, Bardsley rather on the overlap. Bardsley will put a cross in. Ryan decided to neighbour stay will go, and the header comes in, but the header is up for offside. I think against Chris Wood, or there might have been a foul in there, I think perhaps. Ryan made the save, and Jeff Henry hit it straight at him, but by then the whistle had sounded from referee Kavanagh anyway, because I think Wood was guilty of pushing Duffy over in the process. And that's the verdict from Chris Canavan and the referee. And the free kick to be taken by Brighton, and it's the goalkeeper Ryan with it. He actually made a good save and all that. Matt Ryan did really well on clearance again. Chance here for Arfield to flick it on towards Henrik. Couldn't get it out from under his feet. A little game of pinball inside the Brighton half. Free kick given against Chris Wood. Ashley Barnes coming up against his old side, and Sam Vokes up against his old side. They actually played together at Brighton many moons ago, so they know about the club and what he's all about. Back with Matt Ryan again on the edge of his own D. Kicks long. But again, only finds Tarkowski, who again under no great pressure can knock that one back, and the goalkeeper can get that one away to safety, which is Nick Pope, and try to find Gummerson on the far side. Dunk again back to Ryan. It's a little bit cagey in the opening 9 minutes here at the Amex. Live Clarets commentary again. The Clarets match live from the Amex. Brighton and Hove Albion against Burnley, and of course the live chat is disabled again today, as I would like to concentrate on the commentary as Duffy kicks it a touch about halfway inside his own half. It will be a throw in to Burnley. We've played 9.5 minutes here down on the south coast, and 0-0. It's a good game here developing, and if my mate Harry Barker's listening, I hope he is, but I think he's working today. If you do listen to the commentary back, Harry Barker, I think 5-0 was probably a little bit optimistic, but you can't discount Brighton at your peril. I wouldn't be surprised if this was to end a draw, by the way, because you look at the teams, they are similar statted, but the way Burnley have worked hard, and that's a good long ball up towards Chris Wood there by James Tarkowski. Wood trying to control it in the area, hasn't got any great support, but he's got some in Goodmanson, and then Wood inexplicably just giving the ball away. You cannot afford to do that. And now it's with Bong, gets it forward now for Brighton, and Tarkowski knocks that ball back to Pope. Pope now just takes his time, controls it, gets it away, hooks it well over the halfway line. Flick on by Wood once again. 0-0 here at the Amex Stadium, and again this time back to goalkeeper Ryan, and Ryan kicks away up the field. 10 minutes now, as I say, gone. Bruno challenging there with Arfield. A little bit of a mismatch there because Arfield's not the most tallest of men. Now here's Lewis Dunk for Brighton. In towards the centre of the field it goes. and Dunk gets the ball back again. 11 minutes gone here at the Amex, down on the south coast. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Burnley 0. The Clarets match live here on the JB Claret YouTube channel. Dunk hits a long ball forward, looking towards Gross. Murray's also there, ready for any knockdowns inside the Burnley penalty area, but Burnley get that one away. Now Brighton try to launch it down the right hand side. They might have a chance here with Gross. Now then, plenty waiting in the centre here as the cross comes in from the left towards Knockaert, and Knockaert can't get there, and he'll chase after that one on the far side. Brighton here starting to get a grip on things here in this opening few exchanges of this game. As we're still at 0-0 here at the Amex. In fact, a free kick has been given to Brighton over on the far side. We've now played 12 minutes. Knockaert and Gross are the two-man committee. I remember Knockaert having a superb match against us a couple of years ago in that game in April 2016, when he ran us ragged and Brighton went in 2-1 up, I remember, at the break, and then we battered them most of the second half. As Knockaert sends that into the mixer once again. Headed one in there, don't go with a shot, and he got a couple of deflections, and I think it's gone wide. A little warning sign there for the Clarets. It's deflected off his own man, I think, and it's a goal kick to Burnley. Glenn Murray winning the first ball. Yeah, it comes off the back of the number 22. It's Duffy, I think. Oh dear me, that was a danger there. Burnley losing the first ball, and then, well, I tell you what, I think that might have been going in the net from Lewis Dunk if Duffy, his centre-back partner, wasn't in the way. Just pinged off his back and away to touch, thankfully for the Clarets anyway. A long ball forward, and it's with Nick Pope once again. 0-0 is the score. 13 and a bit minutes have elapsed, and of course earlier today that Leicester were beaten soundly 3-0 by Palace, and Benteke making up for his greediness last week in the Bournemouth game, when he had a chance to win the game at 2-2 and missed it at 3-2. But at the moment it's still a good even contest as that cross comes in from the right hand side. Knockaert playing that in. Now Bruno has it right hand side. Still danger here for Burnley. Bruno with a good cross. Header one! And a good save by Nick Pope. And it was Glenn Murray winning the header, who's been in a really good position. He's been in really good form. Scored last time out against Liverpool, albeit in a 5-1 defeat. But it was a nice teasing cross there by Bruno. In the end, no, Nick Pope was in a very good position to grab it, no trouble, and still 0-0 though is the score. As the ball is chased down once again. And really, Brighton now creating a couple of good chances in the game, and at the moment it's looking very much as if Brighton are on top in this first half at the moment. We'll try and give you some current scores from elsewhere around the country, of course. There are other three cockers taking place, as Facebook, anyone who's listened to me on Facebook or watched my video last night on Facebook will testify. There are 3 o'clock kickoffs, and I'll bring you right up to date with what's happening in all of the 3 o'clockers at the moment. We've had a quarter of an hour here, and we've had no goals, but we've had a chance for Glenn Murray for Brighton and Hove Albion thus far in the game, and that's been actually about that really. It's been quite a cagey affair thus far, and that's all we've had to really bring you so far, not from anything else, but we are hoping for some better action as Brighton get a throw in actually. Bong to take it, and as I say, 0-0 is the score at the Amex, or to give it its full title, the American Express Community Stadium. I'll give you the current scores on. I've got a mobile phone, so I can give you the current scores as we're rocking along to this game at the Amex, and still 0-0 between Brighton and Hove Albion and Burnley. Brighton, of course, in the Premier League after a 34-year absence. Amazing to think that a club that was, but both clubs actually were one game away from going out the Football League. Burnley in 87 and Brighton in 97, so it's amazing to think that at that moment in time that both clubs were on the verge of probably not, Brighton obviously had more traumas than Burnley because they obviously had to play games at the Priestfield back in the day, about 300 miles away, and we're still waiting to, and we're just a little bit off kilter at the moment with the game, because the game, the actual thing is frozen at the moment, so I can't bring you any commentary, but I will try and bring you up to date with what's happening up I have to tell you that Stoke West Ham has in fact been delayed. That's a delayed kick-off. Well, it was a delayed kick-off. In fact, they now kick off at 4 o'clock, so they won't kick off at the Britannia until then. And Bond gets the ball back once again, and we're now back underway. Well, the commentary stream's now back underway. There's Bong, so we're coming up towards 17 minutes gone. Well, I'll try and give you a rundown of all the scores as I go along. Chelsea 0, Southampton 0 is currently a score is currently latest. So we'll give you the whole score. And earlier today, Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 3. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 0. Burnley have a free kick incidentally in the 19th minute. Our game is 0-0. Chelsea 0, Southampton 0 is a current score. Watford 0, Huddersfield 1. Kachunga scored in that game but has been stretched off with an injury in that one as Brighton come forward once again. Stoke West Ham, as I say, has been delayed up to an hour. Manchester City Spurs, of course, kick off at 5:30 this afternoon. Brighton have taken 2 points from 6, and Burnley have taken won 6 out of their last 8 games. So plenty of positives from Burnley. As we come up towards 20 minutes gone here. Not many goals to tell you about, but Huddersfield winning at Swansea. You look marooned at the bottom of the table at the moment. Pope takes the kick. Again goes 3/4 of the way up the field. Finds Chris Wood. Renwick to win the next ball. Comes to Arfield on the far side. Arfield down the left hand side. Cross comes in towards the penalty area. Gudmundsson turns, gets his shot in. The goalkeeper having to stretch a little bit to his left to palm it away, and in the end Lewis Stone can get it away down the left hand side for Brighton. So an half chance there for Johan Berg Gudmundsson, the Iceland international. But here's now Knockaert at the other end. Finds Sally March on the other side. At the moment things aren't going well with the stream, so I'm having to keep up with the pace of the game here. Here's Sally March on the near side. March trying to tangle with Gudmundsson, but Gudmundsson strong in the tackle and strong in well, did really well there, I have to say. Now Proper has it now for Brighton. Good ball on there towards Solly March. He'll keep that in. Solly March now on the left hand side. Gets the cross in. Turned away by Tolkowski. It will be a throw in to Brighton. The scoreline is 0-0. And it's Bong to take the throw. Level with the penalty area. Coming up towards the halfway mark of the first half, remember. The ball is now with Gross. Midway inside the Burnley half. And it's been kept in by Bruno on the far side. Bruno trying to dig out the cross. Here he is now. No, he hasn't gone to dig out the cross. The ball's been played back in towards Knockout. Knockout now again trying to turn. Again frees Bruno. Bruno this time with a first time cross. And Bardsley, oh no, under no great pressure, just hooks it out for a corner. A little bit poor there from Phil Bardsley, I have to say. It's a little bit stupid, a little bit of a stupid thing to do there, but then again, Burnley have won themselves the corner, and that's the way it is. But it's got the Amex buzzing a bit now. No two ways about that. As that corner comes in from Pascal Gross. He towards the 6-yard box. A great save on the line, I think, by Nick Pope. Turning it over a corner. I couldn't see who got the last touch there, but it was a great save. I think it was Duncan. There's a player down on the ground there. I don't know who it is. It's Phil Bardsley, I think. Now, did Pope touch that over, or was it off the line from Bardsley? Duncan with a header. Well, I can't tell who that came off, but Lewis Dunk's had the two outstanding chances. And yet I can't still tell whether that was a save or not, because the replays were back live with the action, or the television cameras, and there's a player going down. Brighton failing permanently for a penalty, waved away by Mr. Kavanagh. I think he went down rather easily there. And now the ball is back in Burnley territory again with Solly March, and he hits it against Bardsley, who seems to have recovered from that clearance there. Now, was there a potential penalty? Oh, I think he's looking for that. I've got to be honest, I don't think the four pushed him at all. It's not a penalty. That's a blatant piece of cheating again. How many more times are we going to see people like him? I don't know who it was who went down, but it looked a clear dive to me as that corner comes straight into the mixer once again. Gudmundsson getting in the way. A little bit of a dicey period here for Burnley. Still 0-0. It's remarkable stuff here, and the whistle's gone. Ben Mears been hurt. I'm just going to tell you who it was. It went down. I've got to be honest with you. It's Shane Duffy. It's Duffy, and I think that's not a penalty. I just cannot for the life of me fathom out why. But this is the opportunity again for Brighton, and again, I think that's come off the post. In fact. This is while we weren't live, and the ball back in there, and in fact, yes, it hit the post. Brighton coming close here, and then at the other end we had Scott Arfield crossing in there. Gudmundsson with the shot, gets the deflection, and again, good save from Ryan. In fact, that made the save a lot more better, really, from Matt Ryan's point of view, because I didn't see it first angle, but got a little nick on the way. Corking to win the next ball. Now Arfield. Round the corner he goes. Here's Henrik. Burnley riding their luck a little bit here, maybe at the Amex. Here's the ball back, and then it's a shot from Gudmundsson. He'll get a second goal. Gudmundsson on the edge of the area. Shoots. Blocked away by Dunk from around about 25 yards or maybe more. And all of a sudden the heat now at the other end is being turned up on Brighton. Burnley get a throw level with the edge of the area. We've had a good last 10 minutes here. 25 and a bit minutes we've had. Just over 25 and a half minutes. It's Brighton 0, Burnley 0. At the Amex Stadium, down on the south coast. Burnley having to ride quite a bit of a Brighton storm. Brighton certainly have had the better chances, if I'm being totally honest. But Burnley rolled their luck a bit against Stoke, got the victory. Rode their luck a little bit against Watford last week, but got the victory. Here's the crossing from the far side, and that's out of play. It's a poor cross, really, from Scott Arfield, and it's a goal kick to Brighton. And Matt Ryan now will take command of the goal kick. Now Defoe was involved in the penalty appeal with Shane Duffy. Now, did he have an omelette? Well, I think they're just tussling, and I think Duffy makes more than it needs to be. I don't think that's a penalty. I think Defoe's trying to tussle with him, and I think Duffy decides to throw himself to the ground. I don't think in a month of Sundays you could give a penalty for that, and I would have been livid if Mr. Kavanagh had have given a penalty, because I think that was not a penalty kick. But as I say, I'm not here to try and make friends. I'm here to call it as I see it, and I'm seeing it as I called it, and I don't think he's dived. I think he's trying to make more of it than he has, and he's never going to fool Chris Kavanagh, the referee, to be quite honest. He's refereed a few Clarets games this season. Sean Dyche having a few words with the fourth official down there. And it's a long ball forward towards knockout, but headed away by Ben Mee. Out for a throw to Brighton. But I think Brighton have had the better chances in the game if you look at it objectively. Here's Bruno now for Brighton, the right back, trying to play knockout. And I remember a couple of years ago these two really teamed up well on that right hand side and gave the Burnley defence all sorts of problems. Gave Ward all sorts of problems in that game. Here's Defoe now. Burnley just got to get it away through Charlie Taylor, and Taylor did well there. Got the ball a good 10-15 yards away, and that's an intelligent ball to Jack Cork as he ambles towards halfway, plays that in. That wasn't the best ball that Cork has played. He couldn't find Gunmanson. Now Solly March has it on the near side. Brighton really having a good spell here at the moment. Touch back again, and proper find Stevens. Now Bruno has it on the far side for Brighton. Now back to Duffy, and now to Dunk. Inside their own half now, they're trying to build again. Brighton again, just patient build up, nothing too extravagant at the moment from the Seagulls. Clarets on the defensive foot at the moment, although Arfield attempts the through ball, or blocks the attempted through ball by Bruno. Coming up towards half an hour gone, 15 to go of the first half. As I say, for all our commentaries, we'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll give you the half time from the Premier League and the Championship. We won't have time to do full classifieds today, as we are tight on time, and I've got a day job to do tonight, so apologies for that. So we won't be doing full classifieds. So anybody who is hoping to hear from any leagues around the country, or the other leagues around the country, I'm desperately sorry, but if I had more time I would have done that for you this afternoon, but unfortunately we are under time restrictions and we won't be able to bring any interviews after the match either, as Nick Pope takes a free kick for Burnley in towards the penalty area, and Matt Ryan gathers that in no trouble at all and takes that superbly. 0-0 it is as we come up towards 29 and almost 29 and a half minutes of the match here down on the south coast. Header won really well by Tolkowski, 10 yards inside his own half. Really good header there, although it doesn't lead to anything for Burnley. Nothing gets it away, but only picked up by Ben Mee. Now can Burnley utilise their good fortune and take advantage now in the last quarter of an hour before the end of the first half and try and get themselves a lead? That would be their aim. But the longer it stays at 0-0, the more Burnley will be more dangerous, especially away from home this season. Their away record before this season was absolutely abysmal in the Premier League. I think they won 2 matches in the year they went down a few years ago. This was the opportunity. I don't know who it was inside the penalty area. I'm trying to think who it might be. He hit the post, and obviously it's not helping me at all. But Burnley have won more away games in this season than they have any other season in the Premier League, and that is a testament to how they've come under Dyche. There was a shot that crashed off the post. I don't know who had the shot. I think it was Knockout, in fact, and then from the corner, and it was Bardsley's header, in fact, off the line. I don't think Pope got there, so it was a goal line clearance by Phil Bardsley. Here's Bong now for Brighton, gets it forward. And Solly March was apparently shoved to the floor by Defoe, or Bardsley rather, who's furious about that. Brighton have had about 65% possession. You'd expect that, to 35% for the Clarets, but it's not about possession, as we all know. It's about who scores the goals, and at the moment nobody's scored yet. His Gross takes the free kick for Brighton very quickly and gets Solly Marsh away down on the left hand side, and the cross got a couple of deflections which could have made it that little bit more difficult than it was in the end for Nick Pope, but he's clambered on the ball very well inside his own 6-yard box, and indeed there's no problem. But I have to say but I do have to say Burnley have been brilliant this season, as I say, especially on the travels. They've made a long journey to this game, something like a 500-mile round trip from Lancashire to the south coast and back again. So it's not the most easiest of trips really for the Clarets, I suppose, in terms of logistics and little things like that. But I have got to tell you that Burnley do not half take good numbers as well, and that I have to say. But 0-0 it is now. We've had, as I say, just about half an hour. Huddersfield were winning. We'll bring you up to date with all the actual scores as we get them at half time. But at the moment it's Burnley 0, at Brighton 0, Burnley 0 at the Amex. And I've got to tell you that we've had some, as I say, we've had some battle royals with Brighton over the years, but at the moment we've lost the signal from the game, and we will try and bring you the game as we get it, and we'll try and. But at the moment, Brighton have had the 2 outstanding chances. Knockouts hit a post, and Lewis Dunk's had the 2 most outstanding chances from set plays. Johan Berg Gudmundsson's come close from a shot that deflected, and hopefully we won't miss any goals for you either. That would be a blow if we were to miss goals from the game. And we've had 33 minutes, so we are back now with the commentary, and still 0-0 as Bond comes forward for Brighton. And we're in Quadrophredia country, of course, Phil Daniels and all that lot back in the 1970s. No mods and rockers to be seen now at the Amex today. As Bardsley gets the ball back to Pope. Pope kicks away, and still Burnley 0, Brighton 0. We're trying to bring you some goals here, but no cigar here. But thankfully, from a Burnley point of view, it's good news for us. Taylor comes forward and loses possession, and the long ball forward up towards Glenn Murray. This is dangerous. He's onside as well. Looks suspiciously offside to me. And then tangles with Tarkowski. Oh, he's given a penalty. I have got to say, that is a very harsh decision from Chris Kavanagh. He looked offside in the first instance, and Glenn Murray, who was definitely about a yard offside, was allowed to go on, and Brighton have got a penalty, I have to say, under very false pretences. Let's have a look at it again. Tarkowski, did he touch him? Well, not for me. That's an awful decision. First of all, he's clearly offside as the ball is played, and it is clearly offside. And then he takes an absolute dive and convinces the referee. I think it's a joke of a decision, I've got to be honest, as the penalty is over the top from Murray, and you know what? It's justice, utter justice. Glenn Murray has blazed over the crossbar, and that's what you get for trying to cheat Burnley out of a game. And Murray, that was an awful penalty, and I tell you what, in the words of Phil Bird, that is utter justice. He smashes it over the crossbar, and I have to say, that will be the most presentable chance Brighton get. It was never a penalty in the first place. First of all, he was clearly a yard offside as the ball was played, and then he just, well, he used Tarkowski to trip himself up and win a penalty under false pretences, and I've got to say I've got no sympathy for Glenn Murray or for Brighton in that one. And you know what? Sometimes justice is better. I tell you what, that is justice, but Brighton will feel very disappointed that they didn't take that chance as Murray comes across, and a great tackle there by Ben Mee, not allowing Murray any inches. Now this game has really come to the boil. We're inside the last 10 minutes here at the Amex, and that looked offside from the thrown end, and Murray's thrown himself to the floor. I have to say, some of the gamesmanship from Brighton has been disgraceful. It's got to be said. Glenn Murray there, I don't know what happened there off the ball. And we've got more controversial. We had controversial stuff 2 years ago, and we've got more controversy here at the Amex today. I don't know what Murray's got to complain about. He's an out-and-out cheat. First of all, outdoing the linesman twice and conning the referee with a dive to win a penalty which was never a penalty in the first place. Here's Solly March with the corner in towards the 6-yard box, headed away, and now it's back again, and Gross has it now on the left hand side for Brighton, who should be in front really by rights, although the penalty they got was an absolute disgraceful decision. Charlie Taylor there with the block. Here's Solly March knocking it into the penalty area. Jack Corkin to win that ball, then slips on the turf and proper playing that one in, and that's a clear foul there. The referee's going to pull it back. And, oh dear me, I've got to be honest, I've seen some awful decisions, but this penalty decision, I'm looking at it again. He's using Tarkowski's leg for me, and he's conned the referee. He's conned the referee. Joke, utter joke. And I think the officials, when they look at that tonight, they will know they've messed up big time. And Glenn Murray's cheated, in my opinion. In my estimation. Now can Burnley hit back at the other end? And in the end, the penalty miss was justice for me, because there was no way in the world that was a penalty kick. Just a horrible decision from Chris Kavanagh. But here come Brighton now with Solly March. Can March find a way through as the cross comes in, and that should go for a throw to Burnley. Indeed it does. Well done, Charlie Taylor. He held off Bruno expertly well. Oof. Hit it right-footed, the penalty, by the way, and he smashed it high over the thing, but there was something going on there, and then he's trying to foul Tarkowski, and he's gone down. He's looking for sympathy, Glenn Murray. Look, Tarkowski's just backing off, and then Murray makes a man of it! Get up! It's a man's game, for heaven's sake. Glenn Murray, you need to get a grip, sunshine, because your gamesmanship is an absolute farce. And I've got to be honest with you, the gamesmanship from Brighton and Hove Albion has been a disgraceful one. They've been the better team, I've no doubts about that. They play some very good football, but I'm afraid they don't have, and they shouldn't really have to resort to out-and-out gamesmanship and cheating to get decisions. They should let the football do the talking, and that's a shame, because they're a good football inside, and I hate to talk about teams like that in a bad way. Here's Gross towards the edge of the area. Oh, that's a poor ball, and it'll come straight to Charlie Taylor inside the penalty area. I mean, they tried to win a penalty which was quite rightly waved away. Then they would try and win another penalty which was wrongly given, and then obviously Murray is trying to make a meal out of something that isn't, clashing with Tarkowski when Tarkowski's clearly done nothing wrong. I think Glenn Murray's trying to turn this into an absolute farce for me. And Brighton don't have to do that, because they're a good side. They've just got to let the football do the talking. They've had some terrific wins here at the Amex without having to resort to out-and-out cheating. And they've missed a penalty as well. And I've got no sympathy on that score, because when you think about it, Murray cheated to dive and win a penalty. And that's the top and bottom of it. And I offer anyone who wants to take me on, because I tell you what, that is an out-and-out piece of cheating what got him that penalty, because he's used Tarkowski's right leg to trip himself up, and in the end the referee was conned left, right and centre by it, and I do not like people like that. And as good as Glenn Murray is, a great footballer, and he is a terrific footballer, by the way, I just cannot stand cheating at that highest calibre. I really don't. I hate it, and I think it should be outlawed from the game, and I think Glenn Murray should be getting a ban for diving as far as I'm concerned. But the referee, now because he's given the penalty, he won't get reprimanded by the FA panel. We're inside the last 4 minutes of what's been a controversial but brilliant first half of football, but no goals thankfully here from a Burnley viewpoint down on the south coast. That's a silly tackle. Silly tackle there. Free kick inside the centre circle to Burnley. Foul on Jeff Henrik. And we have some needle in this game, and we had to... Oh, Glenn Murray, for God's sake! Why is he kicking the ball back? The free kick happened inside the centre circle. Glenn Murray is having a... Well, I'm sorry, but his gamesmanship is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And Tarkowski is injured. He's getting bandaged up. Burnley are now temporarily down to 10 men with 3 minutes to go. I think Tarkowski may well play out the first half, and then I'm sure the Burnley medical staff, Ali Beattie, will have a look at it at half time and see if it's right for Tarks to play on after the second half. But I've got to be honest, the refereeing decision has soured. The 2 or 3 refereeing decisions have soured again the enjoyment of a good game. And Brighton, especially Glenn Murray, I think he's got to be considered for villain of the match, because quite honestly, he has got immense talent, this guy. He has absolute buckets of talent, and he doesn't have to revert to out and out cheating like this. There was another opportunity there that was blocked. They've had chances, Brighton, but as I say, it's just... I just think Glenn Murray is a top quality player on his day, and he doesn't have to resort to out and out gamesmanship like that, because he doesn't need to, because he's oozing with talent, this guy. Here he is on the ball immediately, and then throws himself to the ground again. How many more times, the referee? He is conning you. He is honestly, utterly conning you. That's another soft decision. This is absolutely disgraceful from this referee. He's just letting Murray get away with scot-free here, quite honestly. And that, to me, is poor refereeing. He's got to be stronger than that. And also, the Amex crowd are influencing a couple of these decisions as well. Honestly, but it's a 3 kick to Brighton. Gross to take it. I've been impressed with their forward play, but not impressed with some of their gamesmanship. It's just been absolutely ridiculous as that free kick comes in. Only as far as Bong, he'll try a shot there. A very audacious one, and it almost came inside the penalty area, but again Tarkowski's showing his prowess and hooking it out. I don't know who had the shot there, but it might have been Duffy in there, but well, if Burnley go to half time 0-0, then I find that very just worthy, because they've been on the end of some rank decisions again today, but this time justice has probably prevailed for the time being, at least, as Bruno sends a long throw in from the far side into the penalty area, but Ben Mee nodding it back almost towards halfway, and Brighton can launch another attack. We're into the last minute here at the Amex. Brighton 0, Burnley 0. We'll take a 5-minute breather, and then we'll be back with full second half commentary. And then another foul there on Tarkowski, who's been in the wars in this first half. Now the referee's got a decision to make. Glenn Murray, I don't know what he's got to complain about. Now these two have been at it from the word go. I think Murray should be in the book for me. He's barged into Tarkowski. Tarkowski's trying to win the ball legitimately. Murray's just making himself... Oh, he doesn't have to revert to all this stupidness, Glenn Murray. He really doesn't. This is why I do not understand players like Glenn Murray, who ooze talent throughout the game. He's forced himself a very good reputation as a good striker. One added minute at the end of an incident-packed first half, really. Here's a chance now on the far side for Jeff Henrik, rather. Henrik crosses into the walls of penalty area. One is lurking, so too was Gudmundsson, but I just think it evaded the pair of them inside the 6-yard area. Oh my word. This has been and the ball's gone in fact dead for a goal kick. So, well, I think Olskam's probably going to be working overtime today, and we'll show you all that. And if anyone who's listening to me on the Facebook would like to home in on that, I just cannot. We can also, I'll be putting it on YouTube for anybody who's who might be interested in that. And I've got to say, I've got harsh opinions on that, as Goodmanson tries to chase that one, and the 1 minute is surely over and done with, and that should be that as far as the first half is concerned. Probably just the kick from Matt Ryan, and that will be that as far as the first half is concerned. In fact, that is it, so we won't have any time for the goal kick to be taken. But it's been a no goals, but a controversial first half, as you probably heard. Glenn Murray winning a very, very poor decision there when he clearly fouled. Knockaert hit a post. Lewis Dunk came close twice for Brighton. Goodmanson had Burnley's best chance, arguably, of the first half. Then Murray won a dodgy penalty decision. It puts the one against Harry Ramsey in the shade, to be quite honest with you. He's looked to try and clip Tarkowski's legs. He's gone down looking for it, and the referee bought it. It's an awful decision, and then from the resulting penalty, justice was done because he smashed it 6 rows back into the stand, and it remains goalless at half time. But amidst not a controversy here, and arguably should have been booked for an awful challenge on James Tarkowski about 90 seconds previous. But there we are, 0-0 here at the Amex. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I need to calm down as well by the looks of it. But while I'm taking a breather, don't hang around, stay with us. I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes, and I'll give you all the scores from around the country. See you in 10 minutes. Welcome back to the Amex Stadium. We're just about settled down from what was a controversial first half when Brighton got a penalty which they shouldn't have had, when Glenn Murray used Tarkowski to trip himself up and calm the referee. He blazed the penalty over. Although, apart from those couple of decisions where the referee's gone in Brighton's favour, they have been the better team and probably arguably should be enthroned. Right, over the course to bring you about before the second half gets underway as Burnley run out here at the Amex. Leicester City 0, Crystal Palace 3. That was a result from earlier today. Arsenal were winning Newcastle by a goal to 0, so Newcastle they're looking really over their shoulders now. The bottom three could be lurking for them. Our game is 0-0 between Brighton and Burnley. Chelsea 1, Southampton 0. Watford 2 goals down now against Huddersfield, but Troy Deeney has been sent off there at Vicarage Road. Stoke and West Ham have literally just got underway a minute or two back because their game was held up for about an hour down to power failure in the Potteries, and Manchester City Tottenham will kick off at 5:30. So expect Stoke West Ham to finish in around about 5:45 this evening. No just power problems down at the Amex Stadium, however, where Burnley and Brighton are drawing 0-0. Brighton got a penalty which they should never have had, and I'm going to stick by what I thought at that particular time. Burnley to get us underway then in the second half in claret and blue, 0-0. But under the cushion in that second half as we get underway, no changes to report from any of the two sides, no substitutions, not that I can make out anyway. So we've got the full complement of 22 back on. That started the first half, and they're restarting the second half here at the Amex as Cork gets possession, plays it back to Ben Mee on halfway. Now here's Taylor trying to play the ball back. It comes off knockout, and it will be a throw to Burnley 5 yards inside the Brighton half. I felt Burnley were harshly dealt with on refereeing decisions in that first half. I'm sure a few people will say in the comments below that Brighton would have deserved the lead. Of course, I'm not disputing that. They play some pretty football and they play some very attractive football. But at the end of the day, when you go in there to cheat like Glenn Murray did in the first half, that to me wrecks a reputation of a very good side. And Brighton have got a good reputation. They have done in the last 4 or 5 years of being a very attack-minded side. And this is why they got promoted last year, because they attack teams and they do it tremendously well in the Championship. They've shown glimpses of that so far in the Premier League, but they are 3 points above the trapdoor, so the pressure's more on them. And that best penalty, and it was justice, by the way, so anybody of a Brighton persuasion can argue with me all they want, but it was utter justice because Glenn Murray, I felt, should not have had a penalty in that first half. But never mind, we are back underway in the second half, and let's hope Burnley recover from that first half, hold on in there and try and nick another result here, because I tell you what, if we win today, what a carrot. 34 points, and we'd only need another 6. That would mean 2 wins. And there's a foul there by Charlie Taylor, so a free kick. Chris Cameron and the referee just wandering over. I don't think the yellow card's going to be produced. Well, knockout makes a little bit of a meal of it. It is a foul, but I don't think it's... Well, it's given a yellow card. I don't understand. I don't think that you could say that was a yellow card. I think knockout again has bought the decision, but it was a free kick, but nothing more than that. Kavanagh needs to keep a grip on the things here. Here's Duffy with the free kick for Brighton. 0-0 here in the Clarets match live. Brighton missed a penalty, remember, through Glenn Murray after he'd conned the referee into giving a penalty against, I think it was Tarkowski, who did absolutely nothing wrong but stand his ground. Here's Goodmanson now on the far side, in towards Cork. Cork on to Henrik, who touches it on toward Wood. Good control, Wood shoots with his right foot. It was just a bit of a tame effort in the end along the ground, and Matt Ryan diving away to his left made a pretty regulation save. Didn't have any great power on the side-footed effort from Chris Wood. Here's Proper now for Brighton, out towards Solly March. Bond making a break outside of him, but it's back inside to Proper. And now a chance here now for Gross to get the ball in. He's got Bruno on that side, on the right hand side for company, but Gross decides to try and do it on his own, and in the end I think it turned out to be a poor decision because Burnley was well marshalled there, or well positioned inside the penalty area to get it away. Now Bruno has it, put in a couple of good teasing balls, and then again Glenn Murray at it again. Ben Mee penalised. He's thrown himself to the ground far too much for me, Glenn Murray. I don't understand why Murray needs. It's a trait in Murray's game, I have to be honest with you. And his all-round game is brilliant. It's probably a free kick anyway, in fairness, but he did far too much throwing himself around in the first half, and that really upset me. And it came to head when the decision went against us for the penalty. And here's the free kick. It looks a harsh decision, but referees decided to give it. As Knockaert sends that in. Pope, very decisive, catches the ball inside his 6-yard box. Did well, the former Charlton keeper. In fact, I was on the way to Manchester the other day to see a friend, and they were talking about it on the radio that John Ruddy, the Wolves goalkeeper, we were talking about who could be a possible England goalkeeper, England #1, and John Ruddy threw Nick Pope's name into the hat, and I'm surprised that nobody's actually mentioned Nick Pope's name, because he's had an exceptional season. He's not conceded many goals. His save ratio has been up amongst the best, and I honestly don't understand why he's been looked there. I mean, Gareth Southgate's been to Turf Moor quite a number of times and has taken in a few Burnley games. Surely he's got Nick Pope possibly in mind as an opportunity to give an England cap to, and maybe to take a place for the World Cup squad. Although Tom Heaton, the actual #1 at Turf Moor, was probably in line for a World Cup berth until his unfortunate injury against Crystal Palace back in September. So it snakes and roundabouts sometimes, swings and roundabouts I should say, as Defoe loses out there to Proper, and then hits the ball against the defender, or Burnley defender. Bruno in there, pretty robust in the tackle, but he got away with it, and his ball is a poor one. Now a chance here for Cork, inside the centre, to try and make something happen here for Burnley. 0-0 here is the score at the Amex Stadium. Brighton missed a penalty, which was probably falsely given really, or the referee bought the decision after Murray had tangled with Tarkowski and really was blatantly looking for it. And there's Ashley Barnes, how he'd love to get one on his former employers today. Sam Vokes is also on the bench as well. Here's Arfield picking it up, playing it inside to Wood. It's a poor ball. Arfield was never on, and now there's a break on here. Knockaert, Burnley are stretched. It's Anthony Knockaert. He'll run at the defenders. Knockaert shoots, and and Murray can't tuck it inside the 6-yard area. And I think that should be a goal kick to Burnley and not a corner to Brighton. But Anthony Knockaert, this was shades of 2 years ago when he's tormented Burnley down the right. In fact, Pope actually, to be fair, got a touch and it took it away from Murray. So I think the referee got it right. But that's a good save from Nick Pope. It's a really good save. And if that had gone in, Anthony Knockaert, it would have been shades of 2 years ago. There's no doubt about it. Here comes the corner in from the far side. Flicked on. It'll come to Bruno inside the penalty area. Touch back, Knockaert to Murray. Brighton going for the kill here. It's a corner. And this is the Brighton we know and respect. This is not the Glenn Murray that keeps throwing himself to the ground. If Brighton play properly, they can win. They could probably nick 3 points off us, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility of Burnley stealing 3 points themselves here. Gross to take the corner for Brighton. They've had some good wins this season against the likes of West Bromwich Albion and a couple of other teams. But they've got to take their chances when they're in the Premier League. As that ball comes in from Gross towards the headed out only as far as Proper, and he's lost out, and Burnley are on the counter attack. And have they got the skill here? They've got Henrik's up against 3 Brighton defenders. Henrik or Robert Gudmundsson will run against them. Gudmundsson shoots and he hits it, and Burnley in fact win a corner. I think that was the best they could have possibly realistically hoped for there, the Clarets. But Gudmundsson now lightning break. And it's just a good job that Bruno was back there for Brighton. Otherwise, I think Gudmundsson might have just had enough pace to get one-on-one with Matt Ryan. So from almost defending their own goal line, so to speak, Burnley now have got a chance to possibly score from a corner. As Goodmanson sends it in towards the 6-yard area. Header one, and it's off the line. I don't know who got the header. I think it was Tarkowski in there, and he was headed off the line or kicked off the line. It was Tarkowski with the header, and I tell you what, that would have been even more justice if Tarkowski had scored, because he was the unfortunate victim of that Glenn Murray piece of simulation, which led to Brighton having a penalty in the first half, and that would have really been even sweeter justice if Tarkowski had scored there. Got away from his marker. Fair header one. I don't think it had the legs, to be quite honest, and I think it was always going to be cleared off the line by the Brighton player anyway. Here's Defoe. Burnley now starting to have a decent spell of in the game. They've had a good chance there in the second half. Knockaert has had the best chance for Brighton so far. We've had almost 10 minutes gone. No goals, amazingly, here at the Amex. But both teams here are showing some real quality attacking forward. Brighton 0, Burnley 0. Throw to Brighton. Oh, how are your nerves, Clarets? How are your nerves, Clarets fans? And then Brighton, I'm sure there's a few Brighton fans who will be disagreeing with me. Of course it was a penalty. Of course Murray was tripped. Well, he tripped himself up over James Tarkowski. It was just literally just standing his ground. I just cannot accept that decision from Chris Kavanagh, and when he bloomed it over the bar, well, just showed there is justice for once in this it just showed that justice for once in this crazy game has certainly been done. But Anthony Knockaert is he's performed magnificently again. That run though a few minutes ago when he forced the corner, it was shades of 2 years ago when he ran as ragged in the first half of that 2-2 draw, and he had Ben Mee and Charlie Taylor on the skid of his pants, skid of their pants there. And it was just a worrying sight when Knockaert runs like that. He's got a decent record, I have to tell you, against Burnley. Here's Henrik now for the Clarets. They're still holding in there. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Brighton 0, Burnley 0. A draw would not be a bad result, really, in fairness. I said that in my preview last night here on YouTube. Because Brighton, you know, they're going to have a lot of possession. They're going to have a lot of quality on the ball. Here's Taylor on the left-hand side. Back inside to Defoe. Defoe, good intelligent play. Finds Ben Mee. Now Tarkowski. Just put your laces through it, James. He did, but he slipped. But he found Goodmanson here. Goodmanson's touch was a little bit heavy, and it allowed Dunk to get in there and nick the ball for Brighton. 11 minutes of the second half gone. Here's Bruno for Brighton. Poor ball. Defoe nicking it back. Henrik rather nicking the ball back up towards Wood. And maybe I think it's tailor-made for Ashley Barnes now to come on and somehow try and get 3 points here. But here come Brighton on the break. Solly Marsh now. Marsh still up against Jack Cork. He's got away from Cork. He got away from two Clarets defenders, but his cross was not the best, and it's a goal kick, thankfully, to Burnley. Oh, how are your nerves? And I've been in the wars myself. I've had a bit of a cold, but I'm still here bringing you this match live to the masses here. And big shout out to all the YouTubers that have taken the time to listen to my stream as Pope kicks long 3/4 of the way up the field. And well, we have a really interesting phase of the game now. Burnley have a throw about 5 yards inside the Brighton half on the far side. Maybe a bit more than that, actually. It looked on the actual camera angle. But Burnley having to retreat with goalkeeper Nick Pope, and he hoists it high and long, and Wood winning that ball, but again straight to Brighton. But it's going to be a tough last 33 minutes plus stoppage time there. I mean, Burnley come away with even a goalless draw. I think that's a good result for them. To get anything from Brighton is it's a very difficult place, the Amex, to come and get any positive result. That's a foul apparently by Jeff Henrik. It was a little bit clumsy on the clumsy side, I will say that. 3 kick to Brighton. I think that was the right decision. But the Clarets holding on in there strongly. Brighton are a team that that are very fearless. They will stop at nothing to get results, whether it's legally or illegally, like it was in the case with Glenn Murray in the first half. But I can't. Anybody else, I think, had a good first half for Brighton. They were decent. And again, Murray just throwing himself to the floor. I don't like Glenn Murray at all when he's playing like that. This is appalling from Glenn Murray. And I have to say, Duffy was just as bad in the first half when he tried to win a penalty as well. I suppose when you're desperate down at the bottom, you need everything to go for you. But they've got a skillful player on the ball on that right-hand side here with Knockout. But Arfield well in there to stop him. And now Ben Mee turns away and now finds Cork. He's got to be careful. Finds Tarkowski and then just knocks it back to Nick Pope. Good safety first play from Burnley. They're not preparing to rest on their laurels or prepared to do anything fancy. A long ball forward and Wood will be on the chase here. He's up against Lewis Dunk, who did magnificently well. Gets it back to goalkeeper Ryan. Ryan kicks long, but it's not long enough. And the header from Henrik was poor, really, and it asked a lot of Arfield. In fact, Arfield did well to keep it even in with an opportunity of keeping it in play. And I felt that came off a Brighton player last, and I have to say I think that should have been a Burnley throw down on the touchline, but referee's decision is the casting vote, and he gives it to Brighton. Coming up to an hour gone. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Burnley 0 in the cold down on the south coast. Here's Duffy to get a ball forward, a long ball forward, but again well cut out again by Defoe. He does a lot through that in that holding midfielder. We used to call back in the day the Graham Alexander role, because Graham Alexander, when he was in his pomp and playing for the Clarets, even at the age of 36, 37, he used to do that tidying up in front of the back four magnificently well under Owen Coyle, and he was a master at it for many years, as well as a masterful penalty taker. Here come Burnley now with Goodmanson, right hand side into the field, inside the penalty area. He might break here. Arfield shoots, Arfield again, side. Wood scores. No, he doesn't. He's offside. He's offside. Woodward looked offside, I have to say. I think the referee's assistant may have got that right, because I think he was active. Matt Ryan there required to make two decent saves, both from Scott Arfield, before Wood in fact put the ball in the net. Let's have a look at the offside again. Yeah, breaks to Arfield there, and well, I think he's on there for me. I think that's a mystifiable decision. It looked off from the first angle, but when you're looking at it from the 18-yard camera, I think that's a mistake by the officials. I think he's onside there, Wood. He should have had a goal given against Watford last week. We're not doing well with these offside goals, are we? Burnley could be in front, should be in front there. Well, having looked at it again, I mean, I've got the benefit of 23 camera angles to look at this game from. The referee's only got 2 eyes. I appreciate that, but I have to be honest with you, they've boobed again. Because you see here, the ball's played through. Arfield, he's not interfering with play here, and as that ball comes back a second time, he's onside. And I think that goal should be allowed to stand. And I feel that the officials again have dealt us a very harsh blow. And I do think, and I'd hate to say this because Brighton are a decent team, they don't need officials on their side all the time, they have to play the football. But I think some of the officials have got Brighton tops on underneath them, because quite frankly they've been utterly ridiculously poor and have given a lot of the decisions in favour of the home team, and I think they've been influenced by this Amex crowd, and certainly Glenn Murray as well, who gets a lot of criticism. Now it's a good ball now, Goodmanson in behind, he's round the keeper, he has to knock it back and it will be a corner to Burnley. And Goodmanson again making things happen here in this second half for Burnley, and they're having a terrific spell here. And watch the way Bardsley knocks that forward, and then the goalkeeper actually did quite well. In fact, it's a goal kick. In fact, Brighton, I thought it deflected. Hard to tell from the far side, I suppose. I thought it was a corner, but it's a goal kick. And Glenn Murray, I'm glad to see the back of him, quite frankly, because I have to be honest with you, he has been a disgrace to his club today. Out and out gamesmanship, out and out cheating. But Torre Hamed is another striker that we have to be fearful of here. And he does have a goal in him, but not too many at this level. And at this level you don't get too many chances, and at the moment Brighton have missed opportunities which could in turn come back to haunt them if they're not careful. Here's Bruno now for Brighton, It's 0-0 here, and I've got to be honest with you. I've not been impressed with the way Brighton have gone about it, and if I was a betting man now, I'd say the draw is probably the more likely result out of this. As Bong will take the throw in for Brighton inside the Burnley half, about just over the halfway inside the Burnley half, and win another throw about 5 yards in from the corner flag on the far side. The Burnley fans will be, well, they'll take great heart from that last 5 or 10 minutes. Well, they've created a good couple of openings, and Johan Gudmundsson's probably been their brighter attacking players, but I do feel that goal from Wood should have stood. Still Brighton now relentless on the attack as the ball comes out to the right hand side, and Bruno back inside. Here's a chance now for Knockaert. Knockaert now in field. Dale Stephens playing a nice little ball out to Bong on the far side. Can Bong produce something here? Then the cross comes in towards Torah Ahmed, but in comes Nick Pope for the umpteenth time. Just claims the ball superbly well, and the young former Charlton goalkeeper does, well, he's done an exceptional job today, I have to say. He's had another great game in goal for the Clarets, and I think John Ruddy's probably got a point when I think Nick Pope should be considered for England honours. I really do, and he's had a marvellous season since coming in, and it looks like Ashley Barnes may be coming on, and I'm sure he'll get a hot reception from the Brighton public. One of Sean Dyche's best ever sightings, because when Ings and Volks were struggling, when Ings and Volks were firing in all the goals, they didn't have cover, and then he bought Ashley Barnes for something like 250 grand. And what a signing, and what a 250 grand that has been well spent. And he's had 3 Premier League seasons. He scored the winning goal against Wigan to take them into the promised land in 2014, and was instrumental in their promotion season. The only thing that's missing really in this ingredient is Joey Barton, because he had I remember in that game nearly 2 years ago now, that Barton was involved in a big battle with Kyle. He's on the bench today. That's a clear push there, and for once Burnley have got themselves a decision against Solly Marsh this time. We've had 66 minutes here of the second half of the game, and we've had just over 21 minutes of the second half, and it's Brighton 0, Burnley 0. Burnley should be 1 up in this second half because of Chris Wood goal wrongly disallowed for offside. Wasn't interfering in the first phase, definitely on in the second phase. So in my understanding of the FIFA laws, that goal should have been allowed to stand as the free kick comes in from Pope, headed away by Brighton, caught to win the next ball, but Brighton come away with the ball. Now here's a chance for Dale Stephens, who's a very sought after player. Burnley wanted to sign him nearly a year and a half ago in the summer window of 2016, but Brighton would not be beaten on the price. I do want him to go at any price, and he signed a new contract instead. As a Burnley player gone down, referee playing an advantage, and he surely has to pull it back. Surely he's got to pull it back, but Burnley still have it, and they put the ball out of play, and so that Barza can of course receive the treatment, and it's not going down too well with the locals. A yellow card given. Well done, referee. I mean, you've got a lot of criticism today, Chris Kavanagh, but I have to tell you that I think the yellow card for Solly Marsh is justified. Ball had gone, there's no doubt about that, and Solly Marsh quite rightly goes into the referee's notebook. Now here's an interesting substitution, a nice little subplot here, because off comes Stephen Defoe and on comes that battering ram of a striker we all know and love as Ashley Barnes, although I would have been tempted to take Jeff Henrick off. I'm surprised Defoe has gone. Surprised Defoe has been withdrawn, because he's won everything in that defensive midfield position. But Burnley now, with 22 minutes on the clock, they think now is the time to go 4-4-2 perhaps. Maybe Henrick will just sort of go into the Defoe role as Nick Pope kicks long up the field. Looking towards Ashley Barnes that time. Flick on once more. He'll come maybe for Arfield. Wins it ahead of Bruno. And Bruno is pulling him back quite clearly there. I think that should be a free kick to Burnley. He's clearly got a fistful of Arfield's shirt for me. And the referee has obviously not seen it. Or has he seen it? Bruno is complaining. It is a free kick. He had a fistful of shirt. He absolutely, utterly had a fistful of Arfield's shirt. He was clearly being pulled back. Bruno, I don't understand why he's got to complain about anything, because that looked an easy decision for me. And the referee got it right. Free kick to Burnley, and this looks promising. And if they can score from this, my word, we can dream of 34 points and safety potentially here at the halfway stage of the season. Gudmundsson's just swinging in from the left-hand side. It's in towards the 6-yard area. It's not away yet from Brighton. And then the ball comes away and it's hooked out. It will be a throw almost level with the edge of the Brighton penalty area to Burnley. Now it's all hands on deck for Brighton, because now they're up against it. They had the chances in the first half. They failed to take advantage of them. And some very generous refereeing. And it may well come back to haunt them. Wouldn't it be a beauty tuck? Wouldn't it be brilliant if... Oh, that's another foul! Gross surely knocked down Henrik, and the referees let him get away with it! This is utter ridiculous! The referee is not winning any friends with me right now. This looked a foul! Look at that! It's a clear foul! Every day of the week from Gross! On that near side. Oh, dear me, the refereeing standards in this league are such an appalling. It's such appalling. I've got to be quite honest with you all now, because that is never. That is a foul every day of the week. They Brighton get a soft free kick as well about midway inside the Burnley half, and I tell you what, if they score from that, there will be a miscarriage of justice. Apologies for the drilling in the background. I apologise for that. They shouldn't be doing that at this time. Here's a free kick to Brighton. They take it in there. Gross with a... Oh, well taken, Nick Pope. That was terrific play. He took it ever so well. And the Burnley goalkeeper's had a marvellous game. He really has. He's done tremendously well. He slips as he's taking his ground kick. Headed away. And now we're in for an interesting last 19 minutes now. We've played 71 minutes of the game. And Bong under pressure now from Johan Berg Gudmundsson. Still Bong has it. Gets it away, but not very far now. Here's Bardsley. Can he get a cross in? Bardsley can get it into the balls in the middle. Barnes jumps in now with Ryan, and then, oh dear, barges him to the ground. The ball's in the net. And now Bruno goes in for retribution. It's a yellow card for the goalkeeper. I just don't understand why Barnes can't go in for him. I think the goalkeepers are getting too much protection. The only thing I can offer is, did he have two hands? Yes, he had 2 hands on it. And yeah, I think the referee was probably about right, but it's awful. It really is when you see I think Ashley Barnes should be penalised, and I'm getting a little bit pig sick of. Well, we've got Rowan in the background. I apologise for this, and I will be having words after the game, because this is not on. 22 minutes gone. It's Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Burnley 0 in the Premier League. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, folks. Here's a throw to Brighton on halfway to be taken by Bong. Sorry, not Bong. Bruno. Bruno will take the throw. It's been a game littered with utter controversy, cruddy refereeing decisions. Everywhere you look. Here's Henrik to get it forward. 0-0 here, amazingly, here at the Amex. In the Amex Stadium here in Brighton. As the ball goes back to Nick Pope. Nick Pope can get it away. 3/4 of the way up the field. That's a good kick out by him. Falls to Ashley Barnes. And Barnes has got one. He's onside. It's Chris Warren. Oh, he's trying to be too integrated. In the end, Ryan made the save. And he should have just put his legs through it there. That was a glorious opportunity for the Clarets to take the lead. And Chris Wood didn't take the offer. He should have tried to put his laces through it. He tried to chip Matt Ryan, and Ryan, to be fair, stood his ground and did a marvellous job and made a good save and spread himself like an eagle. And so far, there's been no inclination of anyone trying to break anybody else down here. Still 0-0. And this, and I apologise for the noise in the background, it's really annoying me as well. It did look offside maybe, but it should have scored for me. And I will be having words after the broadcast. I think, but I think he should put his laces through it there. He's got most of the goal to aim at. He's tried to be too intricate maybe. Chris Wood has off comes, I think Gross has come off, and on in his place comes Brown, Izzy Brown, that is, won promotion to the Premier League with Huddersfield last year, on loan from former Chelsea player, or I think he's on loan from Chelsea. Free kick given in the favour of the Clarets. So Gross has come off, and he's another player we're glad to see the back off, quite honestly, because he's been a very tiresome competitor. Free kick to Brighton as the shot comes in, and Ryan takes it on the line. And as the long kick goes forward, and Hemming is there, but it's straight to Nick Pope. If you heard anything in the background, I do apologise, but I'm getting a little bit sick of this noise that is coming in at the moment. We don't need it now. As Arfield touches it back. Still 0-0. Taylor goes forward in towards Arfield. Away by Bruno here for Brighton. And again knocked away once more. Here's me to touch it back. Still 0-0. And Burnley looking for this winning goal. 75 minutes gone. They're still at it with the background noise, so I hope you can hear me. They will be getting words afterwards, I'm telling you now. But if you heard anything untoward, I do apologise. There's Henrik now for Burnley. Up towards Bardsley. Bardsley loses out, and now Cork has it in the centre. Cork has found Taylor. Taylor now on the left hand side. Taylor running really well. Did well there. Now Cork. In fact, a free kick has been given, and I think the referee's got to get his book out here, because that was a silly challenge on Charlie Taylor, and the referee doing just that. So a yellow card's been given. Back to it was Dale Stevens who challenged him now. Apologies there for being off air. As Burnley now look to try and seize the opportunity from this free kick. Can they do it? 13 minutes to go, just under. Gudmundsson, who has been superb throughout the day for Burnley, to put in this free kick, and if they can get something here, this would be fantastic. Gudmundsson swings down into towards the penalty area, headed away by Brighton. He had enough bodies back there. Now Knockaert on the break. Gudmundsson tries to slide in, and he did really well. In fact, got a good foot on the ball and stopped Knockaert from getting forward. And he's back now with Nick Pope. Nick Pope now will kick forward, and the ball now bumped into the Brighton penalty area. Looked a clear push there by Duffy there, but the referee didn't spot it. Here's Knockaert now, cutting in from the right hand side. Through the centre he goes. Jack Cork coming up against him now. Cork goes down. No foul there. Burnley get a free kick, and Knockaert, he's well, I think it's about time Burnley started getting some of these decisions as well. Brighton had their fair share in the first half. Why can't we have them? Still 0-0. And the Brighton fans look on as Barnes is adjudged to be offside. Ironic cheers from the crowd. It's a cold day down on the south coast. Although this old gentleman there, I think he's quite mad not to have a coat on. And they're quite right. You need your winter warmers out on a day like today. As we now go into the last 12 minutes for stoppage time here. On the JB Claret YouTube channel, Burnley hunting for this winning goal. Although a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world. This is Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson out on the far side, but Bong is there for Brighton. Dunk to touch it back. Is there a leg twist in the tail here at the Amex? There's still another 11 minutes to go, and it's with Nick Pope again. Everything he's done has been done with a minimum of fuss from the Burnley goalkeeper. He's done really well today. Pope keeps away from his hands over the halfway line. Little flick on, right, just ball for Ashley Barnes in there, but Duffy gets it back to his goalkeeper, Matt Ryan. Made two smart saves from Scott Saurfield in the episode that led to the offside goal led to Westwood's goal being wrongly chalked off for offside. That's a clear foul there on Ashley Barnes. It had to be. Duffy went right into the back of him, and it had to be a free kick there to Burnley. Barnes, though, a very physical player and loves the physicality. And still we await, as we're going to make a, so we're going to see a change. So it's like for like. Chris Wood worked hard. Very unfortunate to have a goal wrongly chalked off for offside, but he's worked very hard, the New Zealander. Been very impressed by his work rate. And former Brighton man Sam Vokes, can he and Barnes somehow win the game against the team they used to play for? Now this would be a story and a half if that was to happen. Free kick to Burnley, hoisted in there towards the penalty area. Me trying to win that ball. I'm still inside the Brighton penalty area. Barnes trying to knock it away. Brighton just hooking it out. A little slip there, but Ben Mee in there to intercept. But here's Izzy Brown. Brown now has it. Ben Mee tracking him back all the way and makes a superb tackle. Stayed on his feet there. That was expert defending there from Ben Mee. Did all the basics right, and he's slotted in there like a glove today since missing 2 games out with an injury. He's done a captain's performance today. Been very impressed with Ben Mee. But here's Knockout now on the right. This is real danger. Here's Bruno. He'll cross it in towards the penalty area, and again Ben Mee. Perfect position just to hook it out. Good defending there from the Clarets captain, because that was a teasing little cross there from Bruno. And Chris Hughton now about to make a change. Paul Trout, his assistant there, down with him. 8.5 minutes left to play. Here comes the corner. Pope's a little bit crowded out, and there's a Burnley player gone down there, but the referee allowing the game to go on. It's Solly Marsh now for Brighton. Marsh now up against Cork, and now to the far side. The cross comes in. Burnley get it out. Again, if there's any horrible noise in the background, I do apologise. But that's going to run into touch for a goal kick to Burnley. But no, I'm not impressed with what's going on nearby. I hate people who do this when you're trying to do a live game. You get noises like that. It really frustrates the living daylights out of you when you're trying to concentrate on a football game. And they will be getting an absolute bird from me. But I do apologise if you did hear anything that was picked up on the mic. I did turn the mic off initially. I might have turned it back on by accident. Once the Prowls are doing live commentary as opposed to delayed commentary, at least you have more than one shot at doing the commentary. And you can, if you don't like it, you can have a re-go. But whereas live commentary, you've just got to make do with what you've got been given at the moment. We've got a goalless draw, but it's been an exciting 0-0. Plenty of incident. Brighton got a penalty, rather controversial, when Glenn Murray was adjudged to have been tripped by Tarkowski, although Tarkowski absolutely knew nothing about it, to be quite honest with you. And As Marsh now makes a break towards the right hand side. Bruno now back inside. Torah Hamid has hardly had a touch of the ball as yet. Bruno tried to play that ball through. It might drop in there for Brighton. And again, they're looking for another penalty. They're not going to get it in a month of Sundays. You can appeal all you want, but that's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. I'd like to see who that was. So let's have a look at it again. It's the number 19. No, he's looking for that. Ben Mee just stands his ground. He's looking for that. That's the trait in the Brighton play that I've absolutely despised today. And they need to... Oh, that's a clear foul. That's a rugby tackle on Barnes, and it's not. It's giving it the other way to Brighton. What is he doing, this referee? He is really getting up my goat. It looked more a foul here by Duffy on Barnes. Look at him, he's all over Barnes. That should be a free kick to Burnley. What is this referee doing? Why is Barnes being penalised when it was clearly Duffy? Come on, referee, get a grip. 6 minutes to go. Brighton again. Another free kick they should not have. The attendance has been confirmed. 29,921. So a big crowd here at the Amex today. So a full house. But I have to say, the referee has done himself no favours at all with some of these decisions. He's given a lot in favour of Brighton. And a long ball forward towards Ashley Barnes, but it's gone straight to Matt Ryan. Well, I've got to be honest, the referee's had a poor game. And there was a lot of talk that Chris Kavanagh had to have a big game. Well, he certainly hasn't done that. Izzy Brown competing. Goal kick to Burnley. No, it's giving it the other way to corner to Brighton. And was this a corner? You see, Brighton, look at that. Brown clearly pushes him off their balance. And I think that should be a free kick to Burnley. I'm getting a little bit pig sick with the refereeing right now. Solly Marsh to get to take the corner. If they score from this Brighton, they've barely deserved it because they've been helped by some generous refereeing. Here comes the corner in towards Pope, and Pope gets it at the second attempt. It was all a little nervy moment there, the former Charlton goalkeeper, but he was up to the challenge. Oh dear. Again. And he took it under no great pressure. Well, he bumbled it, but got it again at the second attempt. Well, smart money now would be the draw at this stage. Looks as if both defences will come away with clean sheets, but you know, a lot can happen in 4 minutes plus stoppage time at the end of games, and we've seen completely late finishes. We were destined for a draw against Burnley against Stoke the other night, and Ashley Barnes came up with a terrific shot, swiveling shot to win the game at Turf Moor. So you never know. It's not over until it's over, and at the moment Burnley are still in this game. They're still not out of any contest by any means. Meanwhile, there's a yellow card being issued. I think that's to Lewis Dunk for a challenge there. So 3.5 minutes to go. Lewis Dunk's been booked. It's been confirmed to me. So a free kick to be taken by Nick Pope. In towards the edge of the penalty area. Headed back. So Barnes is automatically onside. The ball will break nicely now for Charlie Taylor. Taylor, he'll keep that in. And he'll win a corner now. Or no, he'll win a throw. So Burnley can still put the pressure on despite the fact that it's still a throw. 3 minutes to go. Brighton 0, Burnley 0. What a game it has been. Here's Taylor by the corner flag. That's, well, is that a goal kick? It's been given as a one. And now Taylor has to scamper back now and get back into his defensive duties. I think it was a throw-in. So Bruno to take the throw for Brighton. Oh. Well, the fourth official still has a big part to play in proceedings at this late stage. This is Izzy Brown now on the break for Brighton through the centre. And they work it out towards the far side, and it's Bong now. It needs to be a good cross. And it's not a good cross at all. Way over behind for a goal kick, and that will be just fine as far as the Clarets are concerned. But a point would not be the worst result in the world, as I said at the start. But I have to say, Burnley should feel very hard done by with some very sympathetic refereeing decisions that have just simply not been in their favour. And I think Sean Dyche will point at the penalties especially. But Maris knocking it over was probably the moment of the match that Brighton could have done significant damage to the Clarets. But for once, justice in this crazy game was possibly done, and it would be even more justice if Burnley come away with at least a point, maybe even all three. Do we dare to dream? But it's Brighton on the break now. They're asking all the questions towards the back end of this match. Here's Solly March, gone to the right hand side now. Solly March, back in field it goes. They're asking questions here. Shot coming in from 25 yards, and Nick Pope's confident enough that's gone past the post. It was proper with the shot, and it was well wide of the target, and Nick Pope was confident enough that was easily going past the post. And the Clarets fans, I mean, they've travelled a long way, 600-mile round trip, and a point would not be the worst result in the world. But to get nothing from the game, which they've actually been quite good in, and very good defensively, it would be an utter injustice to me. Yes, Brighton have had the better chances. Yes, Brighton have had the more possession. Yes, Brighton have had this, that, the other. But they've had a lot of refereeing decisions and key ones go for them. And I think it would be utter justice if Burnley were to get something. And Bardsley's won that ball really well. We're in the last minute of normal time here at the Amex. That's surely got to be a Burnley throw. It will be. Clearly came off Bong last. 30 seconds of normal time remains. Brighton 0, Burnley 0. But for a 0-0, it's been very good entertainment. And it is a Burnley throw. Bill Bardsley has had another marvellous match at right back. He's done marvellously well. That goal line clearance, of course, from Lewis Dunk in the first half. Owes it towards the corner flag. Might get the ball back a second time. Bardsley has to go back inside. Did keep the ball in play. 4 minutes. Well, I have to say, where's he got 4 minutes from the fourth official? I think that's a little bit extreme in the extremest. Oh God, I lost my words then. As Bogues tried to turn, then almost turned into a glorious chance then for Burnley right at the end. So we're into 4 added minutes. It looks a harsh decision on balance. Here's Ben Mee to Jack Cork inside the Brighton half. Can Cork play an intelligent ball? Has to go back to Tarkowski. Finds Cork. Now they're playing some dangerous triangle stuff, and they need to stop playing their pretty football and just get the laces through it, which Taylor tries to do. But Brighton defending well. But now they've got a chance here with Izzy Brown. He finds Solly March on the right hand side. It's Solly March cutting in from the right. Surely not a cruel twist of fate as Solly March goes for a goal, and it's well wide into the Burnley fans, and it will be a goal kick to the Clarets. I tell you what, if that had gone in, that would have been the cruelest twists of fate befalling on the Clarets this season. The Brighton fans obviously think that's that, and a lot of them now heading off to beat the traffic out there down on the south coast in East Sussex. They believe that Brighton's afternoon is well and truly done now. There's a few festive Santa hats going through there and things like that, but well, we've had a lot of incidents here this afternoon, but none more controversial than the penalty that was given to Brighton throughout in the first half, which should never have been given in the first place. As Bruno takes the throw. Burnley, of course, haven't won against Brighton since 2012, so that tells you a little bit of something that needs to be known. And that's a good tackle there on Dale Stephens, but that's not a good ball straight to Izzy Brown. Not what you want to be doing now. This is Brown, 35 yards from goal, and he's capable of hitting them from there. Izzy Brown now. He's got Solly March again. Is there 2 more added minutes to go? Ben Mee again. Burnley just not budging defensively. They've not budged for most of the match so far. Now, can Bruno get a ball in now? Wouldn't this be cruel luck if Burnley were to concede here right at the death? Here is Brown. Browning's field. This has got to be now the last blow. Solly March. Burnley have got most of the team back now. March tries the shot right-footed. Good block again. Really good block. Clear handball. It's got to be a yellow card for deliberate handball against Lewis Dunk. It had to be clear. He's clearly handled it Maradona style. That's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous from Duffy. He had no need to do that. Ridiculous. And I have to say, the Brighton gamesmanship and the cheating has been disgraceful, and they get no credit from me for that treat in their game. They play some nice football. They get a lot of respect from me for that, But I have to say, some of the stuff they've got away with, or tried to get away with, has really upset me. It's really angered me. And if I was a paying customer, I would be wanting my money back if that was to be out and out cheating. Here's Vokes now. He's kept it in, actually. He's trying to let that go, or trying to win a corner. Brighton have won it against him. There are about 30 seconds of the game to go. Hooked away by Henrik. Burnley now, I think, content to just hang on in there for a point. I think that might be okay for Burnley. I think this was never an easy place. They've had the referee up against them for most of the game. Should have had a goal really allowed, which was never offside in the first place. 10 seconds of normal time to go. Brighton hoist it towards the edge of the area. This would be injustice if... This would not be justice if Brighton were to score now. We've played the 4 minutes. Surely this has got to be the last attack. And Dunk chips that into... Steven Soares chips that in. And Bardsley just puts his foot through it. And the referee now surely must blow for time. And he has done. And Burnley at least have got themselves a precious point. But I have to say, some of the Brighton gamesmanship was disgraceful. The decision to give a penalty against James Tarkowski when Glenn Murray clearly looked for it was a disgrace, and thankfully Glenn Murray blazed it over the crossbar, and justice there in that respect was done. And then Burnley had a goal wrongfully disallowed for offside when, after a double save by Matt Ryan from Scott Arfield, it looked as if Wood was level, but the linesman didn't give it, and well, Burnley can feel hard done by the officials, but at least they've got something out of the game. As I said at the start, a draw with Brighton wasn't going to be the worst thing in the world, and it certainly proved that way. But I think it would have rather been I think Burnley will feel hard done by with some of the officiating today, because let's be fair, Chris Kavanagh and his team of officials are at best substandard. Absolutely substandard, and I think they've denied Burnley a possible victory there today. Let's look at the moments of the match. This was the penalty. This was contentious. If you look at it again, Tarkowski is standing his ground, and then Murray just uses his legs for leverage, and that's not a penalty for me. And then, well, there you are. That's the rest. Anyway, I'm going to leave you now. Well, we're going to go in a second or two. We're going to bring you the results from elsewhere as well as they come in. We're going to stay on the air till 5 o'clock. I apologise for the noise in the background. That's none of my business. That's totally out of my hands, but they will be knowing about it, and I'll be banging on that wall as soon as I come off the air, because I'm furious at the moment. Some full times coming in at the moment. Leicester 0, Palace 3 you already know about. Arsenal have won 1-0 against Newcastle. Huddersfield, what a winner at Watford that is. 4-1 they're winning here. Big result away from home. And West Ham at half time are winning against Stoke. Remember, that game kicked off an hour later because of a power cut. So that has moved Huddersfield, that win now. And Burnley will stay, I think. Will they not? No, Arsenal have won, so they'll move above as things stand. I don't know, to be quite honest with you, but Chelsea Southampton has just finished. Watford Huddersfield's about to finish. We know that Stoke and West Ham are currently a half-time situation, but Huddersfield, what a great win for them. So this is what happens in the league table. So Arsenal now move up to 4th. Burnley, in actual fact, move into 5th. Funnily enough, because of that point at Brighton, because Tottenham and Liverpool are still to play. Tottenham play at Man City tomorrow, and Bournemouth entertain Liverpool. So, I mean, they could still drop as far as 7th if Tottenham and Liverpool were to win their games, but I can't see Tottenham winning anything against Manchester City. So that point could be a very good. Could be a very crucial one, but Chris Wood wasted an opportunity there. So, but the big winners at the bottom of the table look as if being West Ham at the moment. They're winning, but there's still 45 minutes to go at the Bet365, and Stoke in a lot of trouble now. Mark Hughes been given a dreaded vote of confidence by Peter Coates. That could be a problem. Newcastle in the bottom 3 as things stand, along with West Brom and Swansea really are propping up the rest now, aren't they? Huddersfield, they're the massive movers, up to 21 points. So they're halfway towards that 40-point mark, and well done to David Wagner and his and his boys for that one there. They do, I tell you what, they do look a very, very good side, and that's been confirmed now as a result. So let's just check the scores then. I'm going to try and check the scores before 5 o'clock. So let's go through the classifiers, but well before 5 o'clock, let's check them now. So we start with the Premier League. Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 3. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. Brighton 0, Burnley 0, as you've just heard. Chelsea 1, Southampton 0. Watford 1, Huddersfield 4. And Stoke West Ham is a half-time score. West Ham winning 1-0. And Man City Tottenham, of course, kick off at 5:30, kick-off in just over half an hour's time. Now the Championship, some late results coming in, but we'll bring you the ones that will happen. Birmingham 1, QPR 2, that's a full time. Bolton 0, Burton 1. Brentford Barnsley 0-0, but that's still going on. Bristol City 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Derby 2, Aston Villa 0. Ipswich 2, Reading 0, that's still a later score. Leeds 1, Norwich 0, that's still going. Millwall 2, Middlesbrough 1. Preston 1, Sheffield United 0. Sunderland 1, Fulham 0. And Cardiff and Hull kick off at 5:30 once again. And we go into League 1 again. Apologies about the noise in the background. Well, League 1, Wimbledon 0, Wigan 4, Blackburn 2, Charlton 0, Doncaster 1, Oldham 1, Gillingham 4, Bristol Rovers 1, Northampton 2, Walsall 1, Portsmouth 1, Bury 0, Rochdale 0, Oxford 0, Rotherham Plymouth 1-1, but they're still playing time added on. So too at Scunthorpe, where it's Scunthorpe 2, MK Dons 2, Shrewsbury 1, Blackpool 0, and Southend 1, Bradford City 2. League 2 now. And we're moving to that, and these are the scores as follows. Barnet 2, Morecambe 1, Cambridge 1, Newport 2, Carlisle 1, Port Vale 2, Coventry 2, Cheltenham 1, Crewe 3, Crawley 0, Exeter 2, Stevenage Borough 1, Forest Green 0, Luton 2, Lincoln 2, Accrington 0, so a bad result there for John Coleman's men, Mansfield 0, Yeovil 0, Welsh County 0, Grimsby 0, and still playing Wycombe 1, Chesterfield 0. That's still the latest score. They're into 5 minutes of time added on in that game at the moment. And we're now going to go into the National League, because there's we're going to go into the National League. So the National League then. Excuse me. But no games have been played in the National League today, so no National League games. So it's back to straight up to Scotland, I suppose. No National League games taking place, I don't think, today. So we go to Scotland now, to the Scottish Premier League. So here we go as follows. Aberdeen 4, Hibernian 1, Dundee 3, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Academical 3, Ross County 2, Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0, and Rangers 1, St Johnstone 3. Surprise there at Ibrox. Well done, St Johnstone. Great win for them. It's into the Championship now in Scotland. Some of these games were postponed, but here's some of the games that went ahead. Inverness 1, Dumbarton 0. Queen in the South against Dundee United. That was abandoned because of a frozen pitch up there. St Mirren 1, Dunfermline 0. For some reason that says after extra time. Falkirk Brechin, that's match postponed. And Livingston 1 and Morton also off as well. Both matches that were called off, both had frozen pitches. Scottish League 1, so a couple of postponements there. We'll bring you full news in just a second, but the games that went ahead: East Fife 1, Hare 4, Queen's Park and Adriana's Dorita 1-1, Stranraer 3, Forfar 0, Alloa Athletic and Arbroath, and Raith Rovers against Albion Rovers. Both games were postponed. Again, frozen pitches the culprit this time. And now we go into the Scottish League 2 finally, and again some more postponements, but here's the results of the games that did go ahead. Annan Athletic 1, Stirling 1, Edinburgh 1, Stenhousemuir 2, Montrose 3, Elgin 0. But the games between Berwick and Peterhead and Cowden Beef against Clyde, again both matches postponed, and the same culprit again involved. a frozen pitch. There we go. And that brings you up to date with all the scores from England and Scotland. So, well, in our match, Glenn Murray cheated to win a penalty for Brighton, but came a cropper from the penalty spot. Chris Wood could have won it in the second half for Burnley. It ends on as even, but Burnley move up to 5th and still staying within biting distance of the top 4. Remember, those Spurs have got a game in hand over them, and so too have Liverpool, but Burnley could still drop to at least 6, even if they do whatever happens this weekend. But it all depends on what happens. But at the moment in time, we thank you very much indeed for... I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of this game today. I'm very sorry we haven't been able to bring you goals, but we brought you everything else. Controversy, everything else, the lot. Should Glenn Murray have had a penalty? Should Burnley have had a goal chalked off? That's more important than the penalty that was rewarded to Brighton. I have to say the Brighton players had a lot of the decisions go in their favour. But having said all that, a great performance from Burnley, and we're worthy of at least a point. But Brighton, they play some good stuff, they play some plenty football, and I respect them for that. But what I don't respect is the people like Glenn Murray chucking themselves around trying to win decisions like he did this afternoon, and trying to get decisions when quite frankly he shouldn't have got them. I think that was disgusting from people like Glenn Murray, and I think he should have the book thrown at him for that. And it was just justice in the end when he blazed his penalty about 20 rows back into the stand. But I hope you very much enjoyed the commentary anyway. I'm off now to get my voice back, have some tea, and then go and do my day job. But thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back again with some more action during the week, and of course all the Christmas football you can ever want will be live on the JB Claret YouTube channel. So stay tuned, because it could be a cracking. We're going to have a cracking games over Christmas. Manchester United against Burnley is a confirmed match that we're going to be doing over Christmas. So still lots to play for. 32 points. We still need another 2, maybe 3 wins to make sure that 40-point mark, but we're well on the way. We're into 5th place despite drawing 0-0 against Brighton, so there are some good points to take away from a very long trip to the Amex Stadium. Thank you very much indeed. From me, JB, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.